Today we're going to read about Rosa Parks. Who was Rosa Parks? Can you imagine a world where white children could ride a school bus every morning but black children had to walk? Can you imagine a world where black people couldn't drink from the same water fountain as white people or sit with them on a city bus? The world was real and it happened in the United States. There was a time when black people had to use separate entrances to movie theaters and restaurants. Some people felt that they should be treated better than black people. Segregation laws gave rights and a better life to white people. Let's talk about segregation. It's the act of keeping a group of people apart. Rosa Parks helped change these unfair laws by thinking and acting. She stood up for herself and others her whole life. Growing up. Rosa Parks was born as Rosa Louise McCauley on February 4th, 1913 in Tuskegee, Alabama. She lived on her farm with her parents and grandparents. She was a small, quiet girl. She loved to read nursery rhymes and fairy tales like Little Red Riding Hood. She also helped take care of her little brother, Sylvester. Rosa's grandparents were born as slaves. They taught her that all people deserved fair treatment. When Rosa was a child, slavery was over, but white people still had more freedom than black people. One day when Rosa was 11, a white boy pushed her. She pushed back. The boy's mother told Rosa she would go to jail. Rosa stood up for herself. She told them she didn't want to be pushed. In her time, Rosa was a girl in the 1920s. Many things were different than they are today. Transportation was different. Money, a chocolate bar cost 3 cents. Today it's $1. In the 1920s, women were allowed to vote for the first time. Children played games like marbles. Standing up for civil rights. When Rosa was 19 years old, she married Raymond Parks. They lived in Montgomery. She got a job as a seamstress in a department store. She sewed clothes to fit customers. Rosa also worked to spread the word about civil rights. She attended meetings, rallies, and marches. She taught young people how to stand up for themselves. She helped people who were hurt by those who did not believe in civil rights. Standing up for civil rights was not easy, but Parks never gave up. Civil rights. The rights of all people to be treated equally. Seat on the bus. On the night of December 1st, 1955, Parks took the bus home after work. She sat in the seat in the middle of the bus. After a few stops, the bus crowd grew crowded. The driver asked Parks to stand so a white man could sit. She thought about the unfairness she'd faced all her life. She felt she had much right to sit in the seat as anyone else, no matter the color of the skin. Rosa looked at the driver in the eye, and in a quiet voice she answered no. In her words, "I didn't know if I'd get off the bus alive." She must have been scared. Black people had been arrested for refusing to give up a seat on a bus. She had even been hurt or killed for doing the same thing. People on the bus, black and white, feared what would happen. The bus driver called the police. The police arrested Parks, and at her trial, the court found her guilty of breaking the state segregation law. She was forced to pay a fine. Word spread about what happened. Parks inspired other people to stand up for equal treatment. Inspire means to cause someone else to want to take action. Black leaders asked people to protest unfair rules by taking part in a bus boycott. A young preacher named Martin Luther King Jr. made a speech. He urged people to stick together. Boycott, the act of refusing a service as to protest it. It was not easy for people to get to work and other places without the bus, but people kept boycotting going on. It lasted for more than a year. Finally, the Supreme Court had ruled that everyone else had the same rights on the bus. All right, ready for 7 cool facts about Rosa Parks? Number 1, Parks was not the first Black person to refuse to give up her seat on a bus, but her actions sparked the famous bus boycott that helped change laws. 2, Parks was Native American. 3, in Montgomery, Alabama, you can visit the bus stop where the police arrested Parks. 4, in 2012, President Barack Obama sat on the bus Parks refused to give up her seat on. The bus is on display at Henry Ford Museum in Detroit, Michigan. Number 5, the statue of Parks stands in the U.S. Capitol building in Washington, D.C. 6, When Parks died in 2005, bus drivers in Montgomery and Detroit honored her by reserving their front seats. And number 7, many people call Parks the mother of the civil rights movement. Courage. Parks paid a price for protesting. After her arrest, Parks and her husband lost their jobs. Angry, people threatened them. Finally, in 1957, they left Montgomery and moved to Detroit. In 1965, Parks took a job with a black congressman named John Conyers. For the next 20 years, she worked in Conyers' office. Parks continued to stand up for civil rights. She attended meetings and peaceful protests. She even helped Black people fight unfairness in other countries like South Africa. Remembering Rosa Parks. Many people know about Parks' life because she refused to give up her seat on the bus that day in 1955. But now you know she spent her whole life standing up for fair treatment. Rosa Parks died on October 24, 2005, at age 92. After her death, she was given great honors like the ones presidents and soldiers receive. It's a great book. I know a lot of you guys enjoy the National Geographics. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.